Joe Zekas. I just walked into the Heritage Gallery on 103rd Street and introduced myself to Jack Simmerling, who's going to tell us a little bit about the gallery and Beverly.
Okay, I'm Jack Simmerling. I started the Heritage Gallery 50 years ago, fresh out of college, with a degree in art history and intending to work in a museum, and museums were not paying a living wage at that point. So I decided to
As if they were now.
They probably aren't.
They probably aren't now.
No. Anyway, I'm a professional artist, have been a professional watercolorist all my life. My specialty is cities, Chicago primarily, historic landmarks all over the country. I work for a lot of museums, universities, historic landmarks. The Glessner House Museum here in Chicago is one of my favorite places and has been for many, many years. And I've painted it many times, as I've painted many of the other historic spots of Chicago and landscapes of Chicago. If you look around, we have quite a few of them right here. There's the Berghof, which is now pretty much history. And above it, the Art Institute.
It was great history while it lasted.
Great history, yes indeed, it was great history. Here's a fairly new one of Chicago at night, looking into the Drake Hotel.
Is that one of yours?
That's one of mine. It's a little different interpretation for me, a little more impressionistic. And
is that more of the realist?
yeah, I'm kind of a hard-edged realistic interpretation. People like to understand what they're looking at, I find. They respond to that. They like to recognize something, and so I give them something to enjoy.
Have you been in this location since you started?
No, we started out on 111th Street, just about the same. I think we were 1973 West 111th, or 1915 West 103rd. We've been here for about 25 years.
Do you showcase other local artists here also?
Not so much other local artists. We have a man from New York that specializes in Ireland. And we have a few others from around the country, but most of what you see is my own work. Hi.
Where do you find the time to continue painting and run the store?
My daughter is pretty much the manager of the store. She takes care of things here. And so I spend a lot more time in my studio. And I do work here too. I have a studio here and one at home. So a lot of what I do is commission work, things like this. I just finished this one of someone's home up in the Gold Coast area.
I thought when I walked in that doesn't look like a Beverly scene.
No, that one is not Beverly. We have a few pieces over here. This beautiful old doorway that appealed to me very much. An old Victorian doorway. I love to paint textures and stone and brick. The trouble with something like that is knowing when to quit. You can enjoy it too much.
Do you work exclusively in watercolors or
watercolor, pen and ink, some acrylic, and once in a while in oil, but basically watercolor and pen and ink. I'm working on a pen and ink coloring book for a university right now.
For a university? A coloring book?
A coloring book for a university bookstore.
What does the university need a coloring book for?
Probably children of alums.
Okay.
And maybe the students might enjoy it too. Give them a relief. It's a simple way to interpret the campus and the campus architecture. Beautiful architecture in this case.
What's your favorite neighborhood to paint, if you had to pick one neighborhood?
The old Prairie Avenue Historic District.
Really?
18th and Prairie Avenue, 20th and Prairie. That's when I was a kid. I spent a lot of time there.
There isn't that much left there, is there?
I believe there are 6 buildings left.
6 buildings.
When I grew up, the street was full. Both sides of the street were all occupied by the remnants of the Chicago Gold Coast. And one by one they came down after World War II. The industry that had invaded the area needed parking spaces when people could drive their cars again after the war. And they just took these buildings down block by block for parking. Fortunately, a few survived. But that has been my favorite subject. If you want to come over here a minute.
Sure. Was your daughter your succession plan? You have
Oh yes, absolutely.
That's nice. I like that.
These are a couple of the Prairie Avenue
yeah, sure.
neighborhood. The Kimball House at 18th and Prairie, as it looked when it was new in the 1880s, late 18 or the 1890s. It is still standing, as is the one to the right. The rest are gone.
Do you have a model for what it looked like when it was new, or how do you know, or do you imagine
Photographs, and I have to use a little
Research.
imagination. Actually, this has been changed very little. And then this one at 20th, that's the way it looked when I was a young man there, and the neighborhood was all but gone. And I remember that was for sale for $2,000. I'm talking about 1950s. And there were no takers, so it was finally torn down. Today it'd probably be worth about $3 million were it standing. So anyway, but that's what I love to paint, that captured that neighborhood. And I've probably done 200 or 300 paintings of that particular area.
Do you have a slideshow or anything?
I do, historic Chicago houses.
Historic Chicago houses.
And it's about a 1-hour slide presentation. And in my own home I have a private museum of artifacts from these places too. And it is open to the public occasionally.
What hours are you open here, and what's your address?
Okay, we're here, first of all, at 1915 West 103rd Street. That's just immediately east of Longwood Drive. And our hours are Tuesday through Friday from 10 to 5. And we're here Saturday from 10 to 4, closed Sunday and Monday. And we would welcome visitors.
Do you have a website?
Yes, we do, Simmerling.com.
Spell that for...
Simmerling, Simmerling.com.
Okay, thank you.
Visit. Hey, Fran.
Francesca.
Okay, I'm going to back off because she's probably going to attack.
I'm not after your food, Francesca. I'm not after it. Francesca is the mascot at the Heritage Gallery.
The watchdog, our protector.
She weighs 175 pounds. You can't see that on camera. You probably think she's a little dog, but you can tell from the bark how tough she is.
She's a very tough girl.
Franny, can you sit?
She really want to.
Fran, come on. Psst. You sit. Psst.
Pointing. Are you a hunter, Francesca?
She's fairly good at finding little bunnies.
Is she really?
She is.
I think she's.
Piece of cheese?
I think she's the best dog on camera I've ever seen.
Man's not gonna take your cheese.